Morning all, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, 13th of February 2022, and we're off to the Malvern Flea Market. You jump out of bed, throw open the curtains, and it's a beautiful sunny morning. Well, that's the theory anyway. It's absolutely hammering it down. I checked the BBC weather forecast and apparently it's set to rain all day. There's hardly any traders on the hard standing, and those that have braved the elements are not risking exposing their stock to this horrible weather. So unfortunately for me, it's all staying in the vans. It's even worse on the field, where there are virtually no traders at all. Just a few hardcore dealers and hardy souls hoping to shift a bit of stock before the day becomes a complete washout. So what to do? Well, those of you who know me well will probably have guessed my next move. Yeah, that's right. A nice hot breakfast in the Stockman's Cafe, where I can plan my next move in the warm and dry. But not all is lost, as one of the attractions of Malvern is that it has half a dozen massive indoor halls full of dealers. So although the indoor prices seem to be higher than on the field, at least we can have a look round. It's still absolutely hammering it down. So did I find anything? Well, stay tuned to see what I bought and whether or not it's going to make me a profit. So here we are, 3 days later, and we're back in the workshop. Let me know if you prefer this backdrop to the plain grey backdrop I've had in the previous two films, which I think was a little bit boring but maybe less distracting. So let me know in the comments below which you prefer, and I'll go by the majority vote, no problem at all. Anyway, I've got the haul from Malvern. It's all wrapped up. It's been in the box since Sunday, and to be honest with you, I can remember a couple of things that are in there, but I can't remember everything. So it'll be a bit of a mystery unboxing for me as well. So anyway, here it is, still in the box, wrapped up in newspaper. Small, medium, one large, well, relatively large sized item. Mixture of wood and metal as usual. So let's get going and see what I managed to prize out of those hauls at the Malvern Antique and Flea Market. So first up, well, there we go. A lovely embossed copper bowl. Early part of the 20th century. Lovely bronzed patina on the back. There is no maker's mark that I can see, but I would certainly put this pre-war, possibly early part of the 20th century. It's got that kind of arts and crafty 1920s, 1930s look about it. So hopefully that's not reflecting too badly in the lights, and you get a good view of that. The theme is looks like apples. Yeah, I would say apples and kind of leaves. So lovely, what I would call a fruit bowl there. The whole haul cost me approximately about £120, something like that. And I've got roughly 12 items, so you can work it out for yourself. I think this will retail definitely somewhere between £25 to £35. Next up, as I say, this is as much a mystery to me as it is to you, to be honest. No, this is a bit of a star buy, to be honest with you. We have, well, can you tell what it is? In the words of a very famous person that we can't really talk about anymore. Yeah, any ideas? Well, actually, it's a 19th century book slide. 1880s, I would estimate. Very gothic. This was the most expensive buy of the day, and it came in at £30. It's mahogany with brass and what looks to be bone inlay, probably ox bone. I will check it to make sure it's not ivory, because that gives me problems. As you know, anything ivory nowadays is always difficult to sell, although you can legally sell it if it was pre-1947, and that clearly is pre-1947. Now, I really like this because of the fantastic fretwork on the brass design. There you go. I'm trying not to get reflections on the lights, from the lights, I should say. So that's a beautiful Gothic revival Victorian book slide. No damage that I can see, other than a little bit of wear, which you would expect after 150 years or so. Beautiful item. You know, it's one of those that is bordering on being a keeper, really. But I can't keep everything. Beautiful. So paid 30, would expect to get in the region of 65 to 75 pounds for this. So I think that's two really nice items to start. Good value as well, and they both should turn a reasonably healthy profit. Next up, this is a small item. In fact, it's a pair of small items. What we have here is a pair of I think these are tourist pieces, early part of the 20th century. And I believe they're from the Middle East, most likely Egypt, and a pair of silver-plated bud vases. Are they marked on the bottom? Other than the dealer's price tag, I can't see a mark on that one, so it's unlikely there will be one on here. I will have a better look all round. I'm pretty sure they're silver plate and not Egyptian silver. I will double check that. So yeah, I'm really happy with those. Paid £8 for the pair, so I'm going to make a small profit on those. I would expect the pair, decorative as they are, it's always better to have a pair of something as well, as they say. So I would certainly expect those to go in the region of £20 to £25 for the pair. Right, I'm trying to move along as quickly as I can because I'm pretty conscious that the last film I did was 40 minutes long, and that's probably too long for YouTube, and I doubt many people got to the end of it. If you did, you would have seen the little request I put in to subscribers to give me a rough idea on where you live. As I said in the previous film, I don't want to know your street and house number. Just roughly in the world, the UK, the world, where you live. And I'm going to start a map, and I'm just going to put a pin in everywhere that I have a subscriber, just for a bit of fun, bit of interest, and then maybe in a few months' time when we've built up the numbers, because I'll repeat this appeal, you know, on most of the films. When we've got a few subscribers pinned on the map, then I'll show it to everyone. It'd be quite interesting to see, in my opinion. Right, next up, again, small item, moving swiftly on. Now, I think I remember what this is. And I think this proves it doesn't have to be big or massively impressive to be valuable. It's a small. There we go. Now, do you know what that is? I've got to stop repeating that expression. Can you tell me what this is? It's a soapstone box with a decorative textured top and a polished, I don't think it's a gemstone, but there's a polished red bordering on pink stone on the top. Lovely. Well, it is a little stamp box. Bit of a India ink stain in there, just part of its life story. Doesn't bother me at all, that doesn't. Again, it was the same dealer that I bought the 2 Posey vases off. So he's got his little sticker on the bottom. It's not any provenance I'm taking off. It literally is the other dealer's sticker. So, lovely little stamp box. Stamps still used nowadays. Less and less, I guess, with email. But nice decorative desktop ornament, if nothing else. But I would hope it'd be used for its intended purpose, stamp box, to be honest with you. Lovely little item, £4. I should turn that into 15 to £20. It's got a bit of age to it. I would probably estimate this to be mid-century or slightly earlier, and coming out of the Middle East, probably. Yeah. Simple, but caught my eye. So if it catches my eye when I'm wandering around looking at tens of thousands of items on a walk around a flea market, then when it's all photographed nicely, listed, explanation, detailed description, then that's going to catch somebody's attention online. So I imagine that'll sell fairly quickly. You never know, but it might. Next up. Right. Now this is quite an interesting piece. Brass, as you can see. Now, I knew when I bought this what it is. When I was talking to the dealer, he also knew what it is. But he sells these and similar items when he gets them as spittoons. Bit of a horrible thought, really, but back in the day, you used to get spittoons in bars, pubs, whatever you want to call them, taverns. And I suppose it was better than spitting on the floor back then. But it's not actually a spittoon. It's an Indian water carrier from a temple. And in itself, these are quite collectible. So I think I picked it up for a tenner, roughly, off the top of my head. And these can go for quite good money if you get the right collector, i.e. the buyer at the end of the rainbow. I'm prepared to wait for something like this. I'm not just going to sell it off for the first offer that I'll get in online. You know, I'm going to set my price, and I might just let it sit there for a while because they are collectible. Is there a maker's mark? Very rarely with, you know, Indian brassware is there a maker's mark on the bottom. You do get it, but not that often. Can't see one on this particular water carrier. But, and when I say water carrier, I mean holy water. It's not just for taking your water for a cup of tea. This is a holy water carrier for an Indian temple. And you can get massive ones as well. You can get really big ones. You can get tiny little ones. I think I've got another small decorative one online in the shop. So I would expect to get in the region of £35 to £40 for this. Around that anyway. It's nicely engraved. There's a dent in it. As you can see the dent. However, that doesn't put me off because I've got the tools to get in there and just very gently tap it out. You don't want to do it too hard and risk cracking it or adding other dents to it. And if you know what you're doing, which I vaguely know what I'm doing, then I can knock that out and you'll never know it was there. So that was a good piece, and I bought quite a few bits off this particular dealer over the years. I don't know if you remember, but I bought it's a bit of rustic Canadian artwork. It's 2 people in a canoe by an artist called Bluto. I got that off them, and they sell at a very good price, I must say. So there we go, Indian holy water brass carrier. Right, next up. Now, do you remember the letter rack from the previous haul? out of that antique centre in Warwickshire. Well, I've got another one, similar, not quite as decorative on the top, but no damage. If you remember, the other one had a split across the top, which had been glued properly and was rock solid, so it shouldn't be a problem. But this is all completely intact. Paid about £5 for it. It's pretty sure it's oak, light oak, possibly bleached or got some kind of stain on it. Or it may even be the coloured lacquer that they've used on it. So, early part of the 20th century. Is it antique? Could be Edwardian. Could be that kind of period. But a lovely little desktop or hallway table letter rack. What did I pay for it? About a £5, as I say. So I think, this will go for around £20 to £25. But it's dead solid. Nice little thing. Not sure whether you could get albums in it, actually, if you're just picking a couple of albums to listen to, chilling out, then that might be ideal, just to slot those in. I think you could. I think you could definitely get an album in there. So I might do a photograph. Here's a little tip. They say don't add props to photos on eBay. They don't like it, but sometimes it really helps, in my opinion, to add a prop just to show the proper use of the item. And as long as it's not your main photo, then I don't see the problem with that. If people click on it, view the item and go through the photos, and then the second or third one has the props in it, and you state clearly as well in the listing that the props aren't included in the purchase price, you have to absolutely make sure that's clear as day. Then you should be, in my opinion, you should be fine. But I will give this a little polish just to even out some of the variation in the lacquered finish, just to even that out. And it's also, in theory, you could hang it as well. It's got a hole there, so could hang on the wall if you wanted to, which would be really nice in a hallway, I think. So yeah, okay, possibly Edwardian or certainly 1920s, 30s letter rack. What do we have now? It's a pair of something, and again, pairs of anything are good. We have, oh yeah, a pair of vases, copper and brass. Let the price tag off. So, very nice. I would estimate early part of the 20th century. Quite arts and crafty to me, I'll be honest with you, in my opinion. If you disagree, leave a comment below. I'm always up for a discussion. But it's got great patination. It's got a natural verdigris which appears over time inside. I think you can see that. There's one small dent there. Again, that's going to be pretty straightforward, just to gently tap out. But that's the only bit of damage I can see on them. One other there, but it's not a problem. But the quality is good. I don't think this came out of an Indian workshop, I'll be honest with you. I think it was made in the UK. I'm not saying all Indian quality workmanship is poor, by the way, but these just don't look, they don't have the feel, the weight, or the patination to have come out of a workshop last Tuesday. Looking at the base as well, it's definitely got some natural patination in the bottom, in my opinion. Don't think they're trench art. They don't look to be trench art to me, but it's that First World War period, that arts and craft towards the end of the arts and craft period. Definitely that kind of era. So, what did I pay for them? I think I paid about £15 for them. But these would definitely, I will definitely be asking £35 for these. See how I get on. Might even ask a bit more, to be honest, because it's a pair, very attractive, well made, quality, copper and brass vases. Right, next out, bit of weight. Oh, I've forgotten, I genuinely had forgotten I'd bought this. This is, I can hold it in my hand just to tease you. It is, and I suspect Walter from Antiques Arena will be having his eye on this. I did bump into Walter actually at Malvern, queuing up for breakfast. So I didn't have this at the time. It's a miniature brass and copper miner's lamp. Glass is all intact. One little dent as ever. There's always a dent. Anything genuinely antique, vintage, copper or brass is likely to have a dent in it. It almost makes you suspicious if they're absolutely perfect. You know, are they reproduction? Now, this doesn't have a colliery plaque on it, I don't think, but it does have a number, 710, and a mark on the bottom that looks like a T. No, you probably won't. You might just be able to see that. Maybe it's focusing, probably not. But there's a letter T or similar, or J actually. Could be a J. So that's something to research. But this is a quality little item, and the miniature ones quite often are more valuable apparently than the larger sort of more production liney. I don't know what they use these small ones for. Again, I can do a bit of research and I'll include that in the description on the online listing. But it's a lovely, really heavy little copper and brass miner's lamp. Whether it's from Wales or Nottinghamshire area, I don't know. I'm hoping I might be able to identify it. So it hasn't been used by the look of the wick. Feels too heavy to just be a tourist piece. I might actually send a photograph to Walter at Antiques Arena and ask him what he thinks. He's very helpful and always gets back to you. So, yeah, I love that. I paid £10 for it. And I'll certainly be listing it for in the region of around 30. Definitely. See how we get on with it. Next. Here we have a hand-painted tray with the price ticket, which I didn't pay this, but £6. Paid £5 for this. Now you might be thinking, well, that's great, that's just a £5 lacquered tray. Well, it's hand painted, lacquered bowl of fruit. How fantastic is that for a £5? I was a bit shocked actually that they were asking £6. I got it for £5. I was really shocked at that, so I couldn't get that quick enough. In fact, the story is, I was stood at the stall and this couple were looking at it, and the woman was like talking to her husband or partner. Excuse me, I'll have a drink. And they were umming and ahhing, and I was standing there hovering. I don't like hovering. And I was saying, put it down, put it down, put it down, especially when I saw the price. And incredibly, they put it down and walked off. So I was straight in there. Bang, would you take a £5? Yeah, thank you. I couldn't get my £5 my pocket quick enough. And look at the detail in that. I mean, that is spectacular. And certainly worth more than £5. It's just the quality of the artwork. It's stunning. Now, there's no signature that I can see. But again, sometimes these artists are a bit crafty and they hide them. They hide the signature on a leaf or, you know, around the edge of one of the pieces of the fruit and lemons on this occasion. That's fantastic. Is it Would you call it bargeware? You might do. Or it's not tollware because it's not on tin. This is a wooden, and it's bent wood as well. And it looks like it's mahogany to me. So at the moment, my assessment of this is it's a hand-painted mahogany serving tray with the hand grips at each end for £5. Just shows there are bargains to be picked up even when dealing with other dealers at established flea markets like Malvern. I think that's turned into my favourite buy. Has it superseded the Gothic Victorian book slide? We're certainly on a par with it. Cost a heck of a lot less, I should say. So it's right up there. So love that. Absolutely great. Plenty of profit in it. I mean, I may well end up putting £30 to £40 on that. Quite comfortably, I would have thought. I'm not going to let it go for any less than that anyway. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I just love that. That's great. Getting towards the end now. Here we have a spectacularly large copper serving plate. Is there a mark on the back? It's always the first thing to look for. And as ever, if there was one, it's worn off there. Looks like it did have a hook soldered to it to hang to the wall, but that's gone. Don't mind that. People don't tend to do that now anyway. Somebody will use that as a table centerpiece for their display of fruit or flowers, or it's engraved, it's old, it's 19th century. There's no Arabic script on it anywhere, but it's certainly Middle Eastern in origin, I would estimate. At one point when I first saw it, just because of the way the dust and time has treated it, I thought it might have been Damascus ware. Now, Damascus ware is the inlay of a different type of metal into, say, for example, a brass or a copper base, and it's a highly skilled craft. I certainly wouldn't have picked this up for £10, that's for sure, if it was Damascus ware, unless I was very lucky, but I can tend to be lucky now and again. There you can see the hand engraving inside. So yeah, I picked this up for roughly a tenner. I'm doing my best to remember what I paid for these things. So as I say, it adds up to about £120 in total. We can tot it up at the end, or I might even put a counter down on the side just to prove myself right or wrong, so you can keep track during the film. Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely love that. Stunning, hand engraved, antique copper plate for a tenner. You couldn't write it, could you? I want to put that down there. Okay, and two more items to go. Bit of functional stuff here. Oak butler's tray. Lovely wrought steel handles at either end. Rock solid. Victorian, possibly Georgian. Could well be early 19th century, but certainly mid 19th century. Lovely little stained oak with what I imagine is a French polish finish, with beautiful patina to the wrought steel handles. So you can imagine that, can't you? Victorian gentry, whatever, lay in bed with their servants bringing them their cup of tea, morning cup of tea and the newspaper on that, or their morning cup of tea and a posy with a rose freshly picked from the garden. There you go. That brings back a sense of the past, doesn't it? Absolutely fantastic. Picked the tray up for about a £5. I will certainly be photographing it with some props on it, just to show you what you can do with it. Or even, you imagine that on a sideboard or on display somewhere with props on it. I will certainly be asking in the region of £25 to £35. I would expect to get that. Lovely. Only very small little bit of damage, but if something's, as I say, 150 years old, you're going to get damage. But it's more wear than damage, really. Just in the corner there. Just there, look. That I will re-French polish this, just to tidy it up. It's the original backboard. Yeah, lovely. Really, really like that. Very, very pleased with that. And that's everything out of the crate. But I've got one last piece to show you, which is the biggest piece. I might have to back up a bit here if I can. Okay. Walked past this about 3 times. Made about 4 offers to the dealer. They wouldn't come down to begin with, quite early in the day, as you saw. I got there pretty well at the start. Fair enough, dealers. They're not going to let stuff go with heavy discounts first thing in the morning if they've got a chance in the next 5 or 6 hours to sell it for their asking price. But I always keep a check of a mental check of the stalls that I've got items on there that I'm interested in. Sometimes I make a note because Malvern is so massive. And this was an example of that. I remembered the stall, kept going back. Eventually, they gave me the kind of discount I need to resell it. And it is a fire screen. Now you're thinking, well, that's just a metal fire screen. However, again, I need to make sure I don't blind you with reflections. If I turn this round, it has an embossed Chinese copper plate. So pretty boring from the back, but on the front there's the money. Now I paid £22, I believe, for this. It's shippable. What do I mean by that? I mean, it's not going to smash to pieces in the post. Like some of these glass fronted ones will. This is purely the copper embossed plate. And the scene is a Chinese or possibly Japanese. Not sure actually at this point in time. It's from the Orient though. Young lady playing a musical instrument, some kind of guitar type instrument. I'm sure there's a proper name for it. I don't know what it is. If you know, leave it a comment down below. But I think that's lovely. It's embossed, hand embossed, I think. Or possibly pressed. It's hard to say. More likely pressed. But I haven't actually seen another one like this in all the years I've been knocking around flea markets and antique fairs. I've seen just about every other variety, but this one with the copper insert is quite rare to me. There's no huge age to it. Whether or not the copper is older than the frame and it's been made, it's a marriage of the two. Possibly. Don't know. Could do a bit of research, but I'll certainly be asking £40 to £60 for it. 40 for a quick sale, 60 for if I'm looking for that buyer at the end of the rainbow again, which every dealer's looking for. But what's really good about it is it's ideal for the front of a fire that's not in use, if you get a draft coming down the chimney. So we're fast approaching spring now, summer, so these will be in demand. But even if there was some heat coming off the fire still, it's not as if it's wood or material that's likely to, singe or catch fire or get burnt. It's all entirely metal, steel, with the copper insert. So I thought for £22, it's a good buy. There was certainly a profit in it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, so that's the final item I wanted to show you from the Malvern haul. So about a dozen items or so. There we go. A couple of favourites amongst them. you probably gathered, very happy overall with the haul. Considering half of it was, well, more than half, considering 60%, 70% of it was rained off, I'm quite pleased with what I got. Yeah, that's it. We're done. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to send me your location in so I can add you to the map. Take care, stay safe, and all being well, I'll see you next week. Cheers.